All right, everyone, welcome back into another video. Going to be breaking down the Thursday night showdown here between the New York Jets and the Houston Texans. Let's go ahead and get into it. So as always, I like to start off with a quick game preview here for you guys. So looking at the game total, it's going to be 42 points in favor of the Jets, winning by about 2 points, which both seem to be about correct for me in this game. You look at the Jets record, and that might be a little bit of a head scratcher too if you haven't been following the games. Really, for the Jets, it's been literally one play about per game that has resulted in them having the record that they do. I would argue if they had a better kicker, they would definitely have a winning record. And a lot of the mistakes are just kind of random mistakes that really are just sort of outliers. So I get it. I probably would favor that as well, especially given the fact that the Houston Texans are going to be pretty banged up heading into this game. And so we look at the Houston Texans and their injuries. We're going to see that Nico Collins is still going to be out probably one more week, and then Diggs is out as well for the season. So with that, they're going to be extremely banged up already against the toughest pass defense in the league. And so we're probably going to see a lot of Joe Mixon. But to me, I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, why wouldn't the Jets literally just sell it to stop the run and really beg Tank Dell or Robert Woods, to kind of beat them? And that's going to be kind of the plan of action I go with in terms of attacking the slate that we have. For the Jets, there is one injury, and that's going to be to Allen Lazard. He is not going to play in this game, which to me just really is going to amplify Devontae Adams as an asset, amplify Garrett Wilson as an asset, and potentially even like Tyler Conklin as well. Mike Williams will get more playing time, but Mike Williams just not really doing much. I don't want to bet on Mike Williams. He's probably going to struggle in this game. And so real quickly, I do want to take a peek at the Houston Texans snap counts from last week. So Tank Dell, about 75% of the snaps, which is kind of crazy. His snap counts, his snap share didn't really go up. His target share didn't really go up as well. So that's interesting. Xavier Hutchinson ended up getting about 60% of the work, which was expected. I would argue that was a little bit low as well. And then with Diggs getting injured, I think we're going to see Robert Woods just step up into that role that he did about in week 4 when kind of a similar situation presented itself. I would imagine that. At the same time, they do really like John Mechie as well, so I don't think he's going to fully go away. But really, I think it's going to be Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson, and then Robert Woods in terms of who we're looking at. And maybe we just see some more 2 personnel there with Cade Stover and also Dalton Schultz. Now we jump into the prop bets that we have currently on PrizePicks, and the one thing that stands out to me is obviously going to be these fantasy score prop bets that we have. Now this is looking at it from PrizePicks, and so this is the full NFL board, but literally the 2 best prop bets that we have right now are Rodgers and Breece Hall for their unders, but if we compare it to Underdog, those bets are going to be slightly better there, so that's going to be what we would want to do. Let's take a peek at just the New York Jet props that we currently have, and yeah, all those under fantasy scores are going to somewhat be popping up. I don't know if I exactly need to go in on those that much, especially given how PrizePicks and really Underdog will really reduce the payout if you chase those good bets. It's not our fault that they're good bets. I mean, make better lines. PrizePicks, and like, geez, nothing more annoying than that. But those are literally the 3 best prop bets that we have, are those unders. Maybe you could do Mike Williams for his under receptions, under receiving yards. It's okay. Devontae Adams over receiving yards, not terrible as well. I do expect Devontae Adams to kind of have a breakout game. The talent is still there. There's just a slight adjustment going on, it seems like, and maybe with Allen Lazard no longer going to play in this game, that should just help out Devontae Adams a little bit more, maybe force a little bit more targets his way as well. I should call it. This is going to be really the best matchup. Second best matchup that Rodgers has had thus far this year. Some people are maybe going to try to bash Rodgers. I would say that's dumb. Like, he hasn't played poorly. I think if you're watching the film, you're actually like, wow, it's amazing what this guy's doing at age 40. And I know he gets a lot of hate and whatnot, but really playing great football. His passing yards to me seem to be a little bit too low, really across the board. I'm looking at the lines that we're getting. PrizePicks is currently the highest, so we don't want to bet his over there. But I think I want to bet on his over passing yards, and so let's see if we can find another bet somewhere else. What's kind of the lowest line that's still giving us good odds? I mean, ESPN bet minus 140 to get over 224. I mean, that's okay. I don't think we need to go crazy with that. Really, Hard Rock bet, DraftKings, Flip is fine as well. All at 232.5. I'd be fine with that. Like, if you think, like I do, that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good game in this game, by all means, this would be the way to go about attacking him. Maybe on a site like Sleeper as well, if you guys only have the DFS only sites, platforms like PrizePicks and Underdog, that'd be the route that I'd want to go. But still not a bad bet on Underdog or PrizePicks as well. He's been playing well. Again, easier matchup. One more week with Devontae Adams. I'm good with that. And then honestly, that's kind of it for PrizePicks. We'll take a peek at Underdog for the Jets. And so again, we are going to see that those under fantasy score prop bets are going to be the way to go. This is where I will be placing Breece Hall for his under fantasy score, maybe even Garrett Wilson for under his fantasy score. You know, if you guys did that on the Monday night slate, you had yourself a very good night. And yeah, honestly, that's kind of it. Again, in terms of the prop bets that we are currently getting, don't exactly love anything else on Underdog. So let's jump into the traditional sports books here. Again, edge-wise, we're not getting any plus EV bets there. But let's see, projected edge, are we getting anything there? Maybe Garrett Wilson. Yeah, Garrett Wilson get over his receiving yards on a site like FanDuel or ESPN Bet. Slight edges there. Devontae Adams as well. And again, that would correlate pretty well with Aaron Rodgers over passing yards as well. So not terrible routes to go there. Let's stick with the traditional sports books here, but let's jump into the Houston Texans. And for the Houston Texans, the data doesn't really love Robert Woods. I just mostly want to stay away from that. In all honesty, I could see Robert Woods playing about 70% of the snaps and then actually having a pretty good game. I sort of like his over receptions, and really for all the Houston Texans, let's take a peek at the reception props that we currently have. Are we getting any good bets there? Because I do like Xavier Hutchinson to get over 1.5 receptions. I like Robert Woods to get over 1.5 receptions, and we're going to see those are highly likely bets to hit. And so we're not going to get those on PrizePicks or Underdog because they're too likely to hit, which is unfortunate because those would be the two bets I would want to roll with the most. Now, there is a bet that is definitely worth calling out here for the Houston Texans, and that's actually looking at like CJ Stroud. With his with his fantasy score, this is like one of the bigger prop line differences that we see. But really, across the board, we're just seeing that Underdog is a little bit higher on their prop bets with how they are valuing this slate. So if you are someone that maybe thinks this game has a chance to be a little bit higher than the 42 game total, you'd want to bet the overs mostly on PrizePicks, specifically for those fantasy scores. If you do agree and think this game could be sloppy, you'd want to bet a lot of those unders, mostly an Underdog. That'd be the route to go. That's the route that I have went as well. And so for me, the two players that, again, I want to target the most are Xavier Hutchinson. Let's see if we're getting any good bets for him. We're not. We're getting one line for him. That's receiving yards. I do like the over receiving yards on PrizePicks. And then Robert Woods, that's going to be the same case. We're only getting one bet for him thus far. So let's jump at Underdog where we are getting some more lines. And so again, just because how Underdog is valuing this slate, we are going to see, yeah, CJ Stroud, this line's off almost by one. We want to be betting the under on Underdog here. I'm fine with that. Tank Dell as well, if you guys want to do that. Will he score a touchdown? That's kind of the bet. Now, the way that Tank Dell is used, I'm not too worried about like Sauce Gardner maybe shadowing him. I don't see that translating just with how Tank Dell is used. So I'm not like worried about that. But again, they are going up against one of the toughest pass defenses in the league. So I do see them struggling there. Again, I want to take a peek at Xavier Hutchinson. And again, we're just not getting that good of lines there for him and Robert Woods. And again, just not getting much there for him as well. So it's kind of unfortunate there. So definitely a tighter slate in terms of the bets that we're going to be targeting. And so let's go ahead and jump into the bet of the day. But first, I do want to call out the promo code that's going on the website. Use the promo code Keep Cashing at 20% off your first 9 to 5 membership. As we get in the bet of the day, do just remind you guys, give a like to the video. That does help out the channel a ton. Looking at it, guys, this is what I'm looking at for Underdog. A decent slip, but not something, because how it's set up, this payout's going to be reduced if it hits. So don't exactly love that. But I do think Hutchinson's going to have a good game. And then we're just targeting the three best prop bets that we currently have on the board. And then just looking at PrizePicks here, again, I want to call out this Rodgers line. I'm really calling this out because I think it's a better bet on something like Flip or Sleeper, where you can still get the line at 232.5. That might not seem like much, but that can really be the difference between a bet cashing or not cashing. So do that there. And if you actually want to use it and you don't have access to any of those other sites, Underdog is actually the better bet, 234.5. But we just, especially compared to Underdog, we just aren't getting that many big edges. So I do like Xavier Hutchinson to get over his 18.5 receiving yards. We see that that's going to be off by 1 yard on Underdog. And so that's really the when you're comparing the two sites, that's really the biggest edge that we're getting in contrast to Underdog. And so it's always about making the best bets possible that we can each and every slate. That is more so an Underdog. Now, if you think CJ Stroud's going to have a good game, bet his over fantasy score on PrizePicks. That line is off by almost by 1. And again, if you think really any of those guys are going to have good games, those lines are lower on PrizePicks. That'd be the route that you would want to go. Tight slate today, guys. That's really all that we have. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck with all your bets. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. Do appreciate that. If you guys want access to any of the tools, head on over to 95sports.com. Get access to them for just $10 a month. Good luck with your bets today or Thursday, depending on when you're watching it. Thank you guys. And as always, let's keep cashing.